Hello. Today I'm going to show you how I rebuilt this header. The header now has a skip to content link. It will also focus on the logo. And then here are the menu items, where the menu items now scroll down to the areas that they're supposed to scroll to. And then you'll notice that when I scroll down, it does change the background of the header and add a little shadow. So let's take a look at what it was. And this is a reusable and a floating group. So, oh, no, I had changed it to a group, sorry. And we can tab, but it tabs to these right away. There's no way to skip any of the menu in the header. And these are buttons instead of links. The built-in bubble links, if you're on a different page and you want to link back to this page or another page that is not the same page, then you can use the bubble links. If you want to scroll to a section on a page, you're not able to use the links. So I'll show you how I got around that. So let's take a look. This is the reusable element. And so I'm going to go to the sandbox where this is, and I'm going to get rid of it. And I'm just going to put a group on the page. And this is going to be our header. And so it's going to not be fixed. It's going to be a column. And that's because we're going to add the skipped content link in it. And so we want that to be separate from the rest of the menu. We want that to be above the menu. And so the 80 is the minimum height, which is actually really the maximum height as well. So we'll leave that there for now. The style, I've created a group header. So let's go take a look at that style. And this is just after they added the style variables. And so I do have a variable for the background. So what I've done is change the color to that variable in the background. And then I've made some conditions. So when it's scrolling, position is greater than 40. Then changing the background color to white and adding the shadow. And then you'll notice on the appearance there's two transitions, one for the background color and one for the shadow. So we'll go back to our group. And we're going to add another group inside this. And this will be our header container. Which will contain the logo, the menu, and the buttons. So this is a row. I want horizontal alignment to the center. And we want a maximum of 1280. So minimum 0, maximum 1280 pixels. And we'll put 80 for now. And so there is some padding. So we're going to do 16 for top and bottom, and then 20 for left and right. And we're going to do space between. So let's add the buttons first. So now we're going to have the logo on the side, and then we want the buttons and the menu to be over on this side. So we're going to add another group. And this will be for the buttons. So we're going to put nav container. This is a row. For now, we'll have min width 0, max width 0, 80 at the moment, although that's not right because we have 16 top and 16 bottom, so minus 32 would be 58. Nope, 48. 48. Okay. Buttons. So this is going to be sign up. And it's a primary button. I want it to be 48. I don't want it to be 150, but I probably want it wider than it is with just the padding. So let's do the second button, the login button. And this is an outline. Oops, wrong one. I gotta clean up my styles. Secondary button. So let's see. What's 100? Let's try 100. And that looks good for now. In the group nav container, I want to add some column gap. Okay, perfect. Now, here comes the tricky part. Because we can't use these built-in links to scroll on the same page, so I'll show you. So we have internal page, which is great. Yep, so I want the index to be the internal page, but I have no way to add the section that I want it to go to scroll to. So we can't use those. So we have to make our own. So I'm going to put an HTML element on the page. I'm going to go into the HTML editor. And we're going to add a nav. And this is in a list, an unordered list. So we want to put a links in. So href equals, in the section we want to go to, the first one is features. So we need the hashtag, then features, then close our href. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh, well, I guess I do have to put in features and then close the A tag. So what else? Now I'm still, let me put the other one. Let me put the pricing. And this one is pricing. And we'll put pricing. All right. So for now, we'll do a min width of 185 and a min height of 48. And we want to make this before the buttons. We'll put fit to content. You know what, let's make this a fixed height. Okay. So now, I just want to make sure that I put those all in. Yep, I did. All right. So now for the logo, we need to do something similar to get it to actually show up. So before I put it on, let's go back to this group nav container, and I want to say fit width to content. So now I can put another HTML element. I'm going to make that first. This is going to be the logo. So let's go to the appearance, click on HTML editor, and we want this to be a link. So that's the A tag, and then href equals, and you can just put a / and then we'll close that, and we'll close the A tag. So inside the A tag, I need to put an image, and the source src equals open quote, close quote. Let's close the tag, save that for now, and we're going to go over to the data and go to File Manager. And we want to go find our logo. And so here's our logo. I clicked on it, it opened in a new tab. I'm going to copy the URL. This is where the logo is stored. And then come back to the HTML element. Let's go back to the HTML editor, and in the source, let's put in the logo. Save that. We can see that it's there. And one thing we have to do definitely before we go on is add an alt description. So ALT equals open quote. This is the my co-host logo. logo, and then I'm going to put go to home. Close quote. So when a screen reader is reading it, it's going to say my co-host logo, go to home. So they know where the link is going to go to that's associated with this. So I do have a couple of classes, but we'll go over the classes before I add them. And the size that I've made this is 144 by 64. And then I've had to add padding. And that is for the focus visible area to show up that it is being focused. So if I don't have that, then you won't see that focus. Okay. So let's just preview this. So there it is. You can see that it does change the color of the background and add the shadow. So I need to add in a header. I do need another conditional. When the page, current page width is less than or equal to 768, then I want the height and let me change this to a fixed height. So I want the height to be 60. Okay. So that's all I have to do there. What did our links look like? And they do go to the sections that they're supposed to go to. And you saw me put in the hashtag features. Well, if we go down to features and we highlight the section features and the ID attribute, I put features. And so that adds the ID, and that is a hashtag in front of the features. So it adds that automatically. So as long as you reference that, you can scroll to it. Okay, and the login and sign up, those link to the one we've had before, the login page. So I don't really need to do that at this moment. But let's talk about classes. So we're going to go to the style sheet. And let me duplicate this page. And we'll go look at the style sheet. Okay. So we're going to first look at my logo link, which is what we're going to add to the logo. So down on the ID attribute, we're going to open curly bracket, add class, one word, capital C, colon, space, open quote, my logo link, close quote, close curly bracket. So this is the focus. So it's adding the color of the focus. It's doing an offset. It's a solid line going around it. And then the width of the line, and then the border radius. So we'll save that. And we'll go take a look at what that did. So if I tab, oops. Did I put that on the wrong thing? Oh, I did put it on the wrong thing. I don't want to add it down there because this is already an HTML element. I want the class up here in the element itself. So after the open anchor tag, the A tag, my logo link. Save that. Now that should do it. Yep. So now we have the focus visible on there. I don't, maybe. Oh, you know why? Let me get rid of this. It has the hashtag or hashtag of pricing on it. So it was already away from the main. Skipping already. Why is it skipping? Oh, because it's not on top. There we go. So in your elements tree, you do have to make sure that that is the first grouping. Otherwise, it's just the tab is just gonna go to the next grouping, which is what it was doing in that case. All right, so that's good. And now we have to do our links. Style the links. So we want to go back into this HTML element and in here I'm targeting the tags. So the nav tag, and this is telling it that it needs to be a grid, and then I'm targeting the unordered list. It's telling him what the flow is. What happens if we change it to row? I'm just wondering if that'll give me a different result when I do the voiceover. And the list style, none. So I don't want it to appear as a list. Margin padding, none. Actually, we could add some padding. Let's add 8. And then we want it displayed as grid. And then this is the link item. I mean the list item. So there is padding in the list item. didn't look like that changed anything. Just going to tab. Nope, didn't change anything in that either. So, you know what? We'll put that back to 0. So this is the padding. And the way that this runs, unlike Bubble, which does top and bottom, left and right, this starts at the top, goes to the right, goes to the bottom, then goes to the left. So it runs clockwise. So just for the heck of it, we're going to increase our left and right. Border radius is 4. Font family, I changed it because it was coming up as Helvetica, even though I have it set to Public Sans as the default in the variables for the font. It comes up as Helvetica. And then the font size and font weight. And you'll notice that the scroll behavior is smooth. Because if you don't have any sort of scroll behavior in there, oops. It's just going to jump right to it. You're not going to see an actual scroll. So apparently, it doesn't like my two, my two left and right. Because I did make it 185. What if I make this 200? Maybe it's just because of I changed it to a row. So I'll change it back to a column. Okie dokie. As we move on, so we did the smooth scrolling. The skip link. Now I want to add on the skip link. So I need to add what did I add? You guessed it. I need to add another HTML element. And this needs to be a link. So href equals hashtag main, close quote, skip to main. I don't like the way that the voiceover says content. Then close the A tag. And so we had that at skip link. So let's add that class. Class equals skip link. Oh, you know what? I didn't add in here. I didn't in the menu links. I didn't add I need to add my HTML link or my link. What's the difference? Ah, border radius, that's what the difference is. Yep, so my link. So back to the menu, add the class, so my link. We'll copy that to the next one. Save that. Skip to, oh. I have an extra quote in there. All right. And so this needs to go above the group. So we're going to drag it above the header container. And then probably doesn't need to be very wide. It's 220. And 20. Fixed height. 24. Okay. And then we'll go back to this group header container. And we're going to need to account for that 24. Because we don't want it visible to everybody all the time. It's just coming into focus when you're tabbing on the keyboard or have a tab browser like a screen reader. So we'll do minus 24 for the top margin of the header container group. Let's take a look, see, I can still see it, but it does come down. That's good. On to the next, onto the logo, that's good. Onto features, onto pricing, and then we need to add the class of my button. And this one, we're going to do that in the Appearance tab and in the ID attribute. That's where we're going to add the add class my button. And it's also good to name what the button is going to do. So sometimes when you run a Lighthouse scan, it's going to tell you that the buttons have the same ID and that they can't have the same ID. So it's good to change the ID up so that it doesn't confuse what it is. So we kind of have to do the same thing with the menu. And we have to add some things for screen readers. So let's go back into the HTML element for the nav. We'll go up to the nav and we'll add an ID equals navigation. And then in the unordered list, ID equals menu. It has a role of menu. and then an aria label led by equals menu button. Now I'm still getting used to and researching all the aria label as an A, label led by, and adding for screen readers when you need to add, when you don't need to add. So from what I've come across, there seems to be many ways to do it. Finding the exact way has been a little difficult. So in the list item, we're going to put role presentation. And then in the link itself, role equals menu item. We've got a class. That should do it. Okay. Oh, I have to fix that. So let's look at why. Oh, I know why. It's actually not a bad thing. So it has padding already built in to the HTML element. So actually, let's go over here. I'm going to get rid of the padding. And that has custom padding onto it. Do I want to get rid of it? There. Oh, that just moved up. So maybe I should put the padding back. Let's put the padding back. All right. So the reason I'm thinking I'm not going to change the padding is because when you tab, it does add this black line, which is the default focus menu, the focus visible on the browser. So that would mean I need it to be .32. So this group container, group nav, group header container would need to be -32. Still didn't work. But at least now the whole thing comes down. I can see the whole thing. Let's look at the... So this is minus 100%. And then it goes to 0. So that part works. So it should, I wonder if that's accounting for padding. So what if I made this? Let's try -4. See what happens. Which means that it wouldn't show the top black line. Yep, it doesn't show the top black line. But I could live with that. Very nice. So that's it. Now it looks like this. Oh, nope. Sorry. I have one more class to add. And that is my header. So we want to group on the group header. In the appearance, down in the ID attribute, I want to add class my header. So now that's sticky. Let's just take a look. So my header position sticky. It's at the top. I want it stuck right to the top. And then I put a Z index of 999 on there so it would float above the other elements. But now I'm feeling that this space is a little bit too much. So I'll probably change that slightly. Might as well change it right now. It's at 80. 81. Let's go 61. And that's better. Is there anything on the bottom? There is. So let's do 60 on the bottom. Didn't really do anything. But next time, what we'll do is we're going to do the footer. So the footer changes into this mobile menu. The only weird thing is that if you shrink it on the desktop and then bring it back on the desktop, it remains there unless you refresh. So we'll also change these out. These are buttons. We'll change those to links. This is a scroll to top. So let's refresh the page. If we're down here, I can click on it and scroll to top. So it's just an image and it has the scroll to on it. Yep, that's it. So that's what we'll do next time. See you then. Thanks.